Welcome everybody to our March 2nd board meeting.
Cut your mic on.
It's on. I think they're just talking back there. I'll get y'all's attention, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask Mr. Slade for a word of prayer.
Let's pray. Lord God, we pause. We thank you for being here with us today. We ask for your presence to be with us throughout this meeting. Father, I pray for wisdom and discernment to be given to these men. That's not an empty request, Lord. We need your wisdom, your discernment, the discernment and wisdom that comes from on high, not the discernment and wisdom of man. Father, I pray that you would give each of these men exactly what they need today to make good and wise decisions. Decisions that are in keeping with your will, but Father, also are in the best interest of every citizen of our county. Thank you, Lord, for this place that we call home, the safety that we enjoy, the freedoms that we enjoy. We know that those have been purchased at a high price. I thank you for the sacrifices that have led to our being able to participate in our own government. Help us never to take that for granted. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Looks like we got a good crowd in here this morning. I'm gonna change things up real quick. Our fire coordinator, Brett Ishii, would you like to come forward?
Good morning, y'all.
Morning.
Over the past couple weeks, the woods fires and brush fires have gotten out of hand in Rankin County. We had 35 over the past 2 weeks. So I'm coming to y'all this morning to request putting us under a burn ban for at least the next 30 days.
How can we enforce if somebody decides they're gonna burn? I mean,
If somebody decides they're gonna burn, then basically we can go out, we can tell them that we're under a burn ban. If they don't comply, I mean, we can put it out, because now, I mean, it's official. And then if they want to still not comply, then we can get the sheriff's department to come out there.
But if we get the rain that we're talking about getting in the next 2 weeks, can we then lift it if conditions allow?
If conditions, improve, yes, we can definitely lift. It will run for 30 days. If in the next 30 days, we start getting rainfall, then we don't have to do anything. It'll just expire on its own. Or we can come back in 30 days and address this issue again and extend it for another 30.
But we can lift it early too if we need to, right?
Yes.
Correct.
but we're not gonna meet back until, well, I guess depends on, be the 16th.
Let me ask, if I can, if it's all right, I want to ask a couple of questions. Brett, the Forestry Commission is on board
Yes,
with
all right,
the recommendation?
We talked over the weekend, talked again this morning, they're fine with it. The only exemptions that we're putting in there, obviously, is the Mississippi Forestry Commission. Our certified burn managers, and obviously, us county fire services, if we need
Right.
to do something to stop a fire.
Right. So one thing we can do, gentlemen, is we've got a meeting on the 16th. What we can do is plan to have a review on the 16th. That gives us a couple of weeks of an actual burn ban, but the possibility that on the 16th that it could be lifted that day if conditions have changed, and the recommendation from Brett and the Forestry Commission is to lift it. I would say set it for 30 days, but plan on revisiting the burn ban on the 16th.
Sheriff, you have a comment?
You remember we had an issue one time with the farmer, but how's agriculture gonna fall?
So agriculture is not gonna be exempted on this one.
Okay.
So we're just taking that out of plan, but we don't have that problem or hiccup.
Right.
Fred, do you think that could go press with getting that out to the media?
Yeah, I think we will ask for help. We'll get it up on our website. We'll try to get it out to media contacts. I'll do a press release today and push that through and let Brett send it out to the media contacts.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
We need to add that, gentlemen. So Sid's motion will be to add it to the agenda.
I second that.
I made a motion to add. Bill seconded that motion to add. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Now I make a motion on the 30-day burn ban.
Second.
Bill seconded that motion. Any further discussion?
Was it 30 days or 2 weeks?
It's
Yep,
30,
y'all-
and we're gonna revisit.
You're gonna revisit on the 16th, Jay.
Right.
Any further discussion, Jay?
No, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Brett. All right, now on public comments and recognition. You'll go to the Rankin County Sheriff's Department.
Mr. President, we have the privilege again today to recognize some of our jailers, deputies, and I want to call them by name and ask them to come forward. Cameron Johnson, Jacob Burks, and Dustin Chapers. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank y'all for being here. Gentlemen, these are three of our jailers that work with the sheriff consistently. We have a commendation that I want to read, that I was asked to prepare, and I want to read it for us publicly, commending the Rankin County Sheriff's Office and Deputies Cameron Johnson, Jacob Burks, and Dustin Chambers for life-saving actions. Whereas the Rankin County Board of Supervisors has consistently recognized our county law enforcement under the direction of Sheriff Brian Bailey as a vital component of what makes Rankin County a desirable and safe place to live and raise a family. And whereas the Rankin County Sheriff's Department has been a consistent partner with the Rankin County Board of Supervisors in serving and protecting the citizens of Rankin County. And whereas in recognizing the importance of Sheriff Bailey, the other leaders of the Sheriff's Department, and the men and women who form the department, the Rankin County Board of Supervisors also recognizes the extraordinary and heroic acts of individual officers, among them Cameron Johnson, Jacob Burks, and Dustin Chambers, whose training and quick response saved a life. On December the 15th of 2025, Deputy Dustin Chambers observed a troubling video surveillance of an incarcerated individual with a history of suicidal tendencies. Deputy Chambers promptly requested a check of this inmate. Deputies Cameron Johnson and Jacob Burks immediately responded to Deputy Chambers' alert and determined that the inmate was attempting to commit suicide. Deputies Johnson and Burks were able to intervene, and they took immediate actions at risk to themselves, and they saved this inmate's life. These quick actions of all three deputies on this occasion prevented a terrible and an unnecessary tragedy. Now therefore it is resolved, the Rankin County Board of Supervisors commends the Rankin County Sheriff, the men and women of the department, and especially these three deputies for their dedicated service to the citizens of Rankin County. Deputies Chambers, Johnson, and Burks are fine examples of the quality of men and women selected by our sheriff and his leadership team to serve and protect our citizens each and every day. Their willingness to place themselves in harm's way or answer the call in emergency situations makes Rankin County a safer and more desirable place to live, work, and raise our families. That is resolved this the second day of March 2026. It's signed by each of the supervisors and by our Chancery Clerk. I want to say on behalf of all citizens of Rankin County, gentlemen, thank you for your service. You guys oftentimes are not recognized for what you're doing in jail. I just want to say thank you because we recognize it as a very valuable service to all of our citizens, and we thank you for being super employees of our Sheriff's Department. I'm going to ask Sheriff to come forward, and I think he's got a presentation he wants to make.
I'd just like to say, this is a direct reflection on the Board of Supervisors and how seriously they take public safety. We've been through some trying times, and the board has funded the sheriff's office to get quality people, to get quality legal counsel, to tweak our policies and procedures, and we have a great administrative staff. So, the board, I don't know if you realize that these guys they have to go to training to stay certified. Well, somebody's got to pay that overtime for somebody else to work to cover them. So y'all are doing that, and I just really appreciate what you do. And the jailers are one of the most thankless jobs at the sheriff's office, because we were at church yesterday, somebody was in the jail working. We were cutting grass Saturday, somebody was in the jail working, So I just really appreciate all that you do. And on behalf of the sheriff's office, I'd like to present each one of you with a life-saving ribbon and badge. And just thank you so much for what you do.
Great job, guys.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank all the jail staff, I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Each
guys.
of the gentlemen has a copy of that resolution suitable for framing.
wanna thank y'all for, all what y'all do at the sheriff's department for us and take care of Rankin County. I know it's not an easy job, and a lot of times you get a lot of slack back on it, but thank y'all for what y'all do. Yeah. All right, Bob Carey. Do we have a Bob Carey here? He's not here. He's not here.
He moved over to Jay's district.
Yeah, he moved, okay. Paul and Guy with Risk Management Partners. If y'all could, we're gonna move y'all to the end. Oh, y'all already stood up? Okay.
Come when called.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Morning.
Boy, I tell you, I like to see that with the sheriff's department like that, and so many times, like Sid said, they don't get the recognition they deserve, and it's refreshing to see it. All right, as we know, this is the renewal with Massett. We did this back in October for the November renewal. We did a short-term policy due to Massett having an annual renewal on April 1. And I am pleased to announce they did exactly what they said they would do. They've even improved the premium for what they said they would do. If y'all turn to this page, I think this will really kind of tell everything. And before I start, I had the opportunity to introduce myself to Supervisor Field, and if anyone ever wants us to come on an individual basis and go through this and streamline it and go line by line, we'll be happy to do so. I know y'all got a full agenda today, so we sort of streamlined it here for you. And if you will, compare years 24 and 25 to 26 and 27. And the reason I say so, that's before we went with Massett. That's with Travelers and different companies compared to it all being with Massett. And as you see, the property and equipment, that's with Insurance Associates. And the premiums are dramatically less. Automobile insurance, dramatically less. And one thing that I think the sheriff will appreciate is Travelers executed the blue light rule where Massett will pay a claim for a bump in the parking lot and things such as that. So that's a big big difference there. The general liability, it's really the same. That's with Insurance Associates. The law legal, now that's really the tail wagging the dog. Now, one thing I will say about the law legal liability, whether you've had a claim or whether you haven't had a claim, it does not matter. It is a very, very difficult part of the coverage to place, and every county, everybody's has literally went up dramatically to the point of doubling in price just due to the climate with the police officers, as we just sort of talked about. One big difference, and I think Craig and Jason can vouch for this, is the coverage difference. Where we were with Kinzel was almost just like a have to. And that was literally a have to, where Massett has a lot more detailed coverages. They covering
They cover the self-inflicted injuries in the jail, whereas Kinzel would deny those.
And Massett will cover.
Massett covers those. Right. And they also allow us to keep Jason Dare as the legal representation as well.
That's been very helpful. It keeps it all unified, streamlined. Obviously, Jason knows more than anybody else about what's going on on the law legal side. So that's been very helpful.
Outworking of moving to the Massett program. I'm curious if you guys have any explanation for why Massett's $110,000 in premium less on just on the auto coverage. What's driving that and that differential?
I think it's their overall reinsurance rates have come down some. We've seen that across the board on insurance since January 1, when a lot of the reinsurance contracts renewed. We started to see an easing up on property insurance, so it filters down. Sometimes it filters slowly, unfortunately, but it does filter down.
Each company,
I can't believe that the public officials liability insurance doubled just.
that's
after
what I was
Phil
gonna
got
get
here.
into. Each company has a different rating,
Is
so.
it Phil?
No,
It's
no.
Phil.
It's simply, you know, they may be a little better here and a little worse here, but at the end of the day, the great thing is, it's all together, it's all there, and the pricing is better with a lot better coverages and even better deductibles. That's one thing I wanted to go back to with the law legal, with the understanding with us moving to Massett, they're gonna work with us throughout the years on the deductible to get that a little lower, you know.
Right.
As long as our claims experience stays the way it is, has been the last couple of years, then, we can improve that.
One other big thing is we all can testify now is cyber liability. Massett put $1 million cyber liability there where we did not have it. And still, even with that extra coverage, you can see the pricing difference. So we're pleased to be able to present this.
So are they normally, Massett, are they normally high on their public officials liability policy?
Yes.
I mean, cause they're
Yeah.
pretty substantially higher on this one.
They are, that's just one, where they may be lower on the auto and they may be lower on the property, they're a little bit higher on the public officials.
Gotcha.
But it's a complete package, like you can't look through it and pick and choose. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, we,
Together.
But if you notice,
Right.
it did go down this time.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So did y'all give anything in this packet that has Massett compared to number 2 or number 3 for this year's?
Our agreement with them is when they wrote it last year or midterm from October or November to now was to give them this renewal. With the understanding that the price here, you'd see what they estimated the price,
Right.
with the understanding they would be somewhat close to that, and you can see they're actually a little lower than that.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with that, so thank you.
Yeah,
Well, this is our first year to go on
To,
that.
to switch on this, yeah.
We're used to doing these renewals at a different point, and so the renewals for Massett is April, which is kind of weird. So this is, Phil, you're coming into it, and it's new for all of us.
Right.
again, if anybody has any questions and want to go through it in a little more detail, we'll be happy to do so. And Phil, it may be a situation where we show you the past history of 5 years or,
I'm good with it. I just like to see more than one number. that's all.
right?
Good, appreciate y'all.
All right, thank y'all for
Thank you.
coming.
Appreciate it.
Now we have, Mr. Wesley McLean Jr.
Good morning.
Good morning, how y'all doing?
Doing good, how y'all doing?
All right, basically trying to get a clear understanding about a cemetery being put in the area, that we live in. It's basically a family, supposedly cemetery.
Right.
And we're trying to figure out, is there a zoning for that, and what kind of, procedures do they have to go through to get that? Because it's basically an agricultural area and a residential area, and it's not commercial. So we basically want to get an idea of they have to have any kind of,
Is this gonna be private?
that's the way it's.
Are you inquiring for yourself or?
No,
existing?
basically, we're basically in opposing of it,
Okay.
opposition.
Jay, I've talked to them, I've talked to several different parties, about this, y'all, and like I say, nothing has come across to our department or to the community development or anywhere where they're supposed to be doing any of the legal stuff. And it's like I said, once that happens, I won't know anything or they won't know anything because nobody has applied for it. Now, if it's word of mouth, I don't know, there's nothing we can do, but there's nothing that has come toward you know, yes, there is certain criteria that has to take place. You know, they just they can't go.
Yeah, they gotta get it surveyed and get it,
Right, you know, so there's some steps that has to be done, but like I said, until it comes to our department, you know, we don't, and I've asked over there, you know, and they don't have any record or anybody coming in, you know, here recently asking anything. But when that happens, you know, it will have to be put out and advertised for what, 30 days?
Let me ask, let me jump in and just give a little bit of clarity. It's not clear to me whether we're talking about a private family cemetery or some sort of commercial operation. So I don't know the answer to that. That distinction is very important. If it's gonna be a commercial
Public.
cemetery operation that's gonna be available to anybody in the public to secure some sort of grave site, and it's gonna be, that's all handled in the normal course under our zoning context, and it'll have to go through that entire process. If, on the other hand, this is nothing more than a private family cemetery setup, that does not have to go through a zoning because it's not available to the public. It is for private family use. Now, we have a process to establish a private family cemetery. They still have to do a survey that lines out on their property, within their property, exactly where this cemetery is going to be established. And it actually goes in the land records as such, so that it's clear to everybody. There's a private family cemetery plot that's available for private use. It can't be marketed, can't be sold, made available for folks that are outside of that family context. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't know what the answer is, whether it's going to begin life as some sort of commercial type operation available to anybody, or if it's private family. Once we know the answer to that, we'll kind of know what's the next step.
would you like to say?
Yes, sir. Kyros Brown, I have the opportunity and the privilege to living in the Good Hope community. Mr. Scarborough is actually our district supervisor. We're basically trying to get understanding and clarity what are the laws for private, and also in transparency, we wanted to understand, can this carry over to being public? This community that we live in has been in our family for over 100+ years. We're a tight-knit community. It's a very rural area. We hold our values here, and we're just trying to get clarity and also point in the right direction even before it starts, just so we can be equipped and knowing what we need to know, so we can come here and actually combat it if it is an issue, if it starts.
Right.
Well, if it's to ever go to move to being public, you will definitely notify. But if there's people there currently, they must be using it as a private cemetery.
But nobody is there. I mean, they're wanting to start it, so, but even if it's a private cemetery,
haven't
we still
received
have to be
anything.
notified.
No,
Yeah.
we,
There's an application that will be filed in the Chancery Clerk's office. If it's a private family cemetery, there is not a process to provide notice to the public, because it's designed to be simply for the use of that private family on their own property. There's not a public connection to that. We do have a process that they follow, because we need to know, where is this private cemetery located? Also, you need somebody that could potentially buy that property in the future. They need to be able to educate themselves about what's on the property they are interested in buying. And if there's a cemetery located there, they need to know that.
And that'd be recorded with the
That's
Chancery
all
Clerk.
recorded in the land records. But I want to be clear, we don't have a mechanism to notify the public. What these gentlemen are asking you guys to do, we don't do. We don't notify the public if it's a private family cemetery. They apply to the Chancery Clerk. That application is reviewed. They have to submit the survey, the legal description for that area, and they have to clearly understand it can't be made available for public use. That's our policy. If they somehow end up using a private family cemetery as a public offered cemetery, they are going to be in violation of our policy, and they'll have to answer for that.
does that make,
So for private, if it's like 40, 50 people, is that still considered private?
It's private if it's family members.
Okay.
We understand that there may be a situation where somebody masquerades, they say this is gonna be private, and then it morphs into something that's obviously very different than that. That, we don't have a policy that says, hey, don't be playing monkey business with us. But we know what it looks like when we see it, right? And the community can help us police that. We start from the process that we're gonna operate on the honor system, and we expect people to do right by our regulations. That's the expectation.
Is there a definition of family?
No.
Well, that's a little vague then.
Right.
Anybody can be family.
Is there any kind of state statute?
No, sir.
No.
This is what's really strange. It's, the counties are left, basically, we're left on our own to figure out how to address these kinds of situations. And, you know, you can understand, people, sometimes people are not in a position, they don't have the resources to pay for a commercial cemetery within which to bury their family members. We've seen that pretty consistently. I mean, you guys have an indigent cremation burial policy for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who pass away who do not have the resources, their families don't have the resources to deal with that. So we provide for the possibility that folks want to avail themselves of a location on their own property for the purpose of the final remains of their family, okay? And the honor system is that it will be for family, it'll be for that private use, and it'll be in a defined area that's in the land records. That's our policy. That's a reasonable policy.
But if there's, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. If there's no definition of family, then how are you making this assumption that who's gonna be there?
We're not making any assumptions. We're expecting folks to understand what that is and to honor it. That's our expectation.
So they consider church members family.
Okay?
So is that,
More than likely, we're gonna see that differently. When I think about family members, I think about those who are adopted, those who are blood kin, and those who have blended families. That's family, and I think that's how far these guys would interpret that policy. If we're confronted with a situation where it's obvious that this family has expanded beyond what the normal, customary definition of family is, I think we're all smart enough to figure that out.
And that's what we're afraid of.
Right.
I understand.
And just for clarity, again, the Board of Supervisors, you all work on your own autonomy of considering this matter, and it's not no state statute.
There's not a state statute that addresses this. This would be the board that would need to receive information that something's not right.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
y'all. Appreciate
Thank
y'all.
Okay, I believe that's all we have under, public comments. Old business.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for February 13th and 26th.
Second.
Brad made a motion to approve. Jay seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Consent agenda. Has everybody had time? Any questions on the consent agenda?
Motion approved.
Second.
Jay made a motion. Phil seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Ms. Stacy McNich, our tax assessor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, item A, requesting approval for the petitions to adjust the 25 homestead exemption supplemental roll.
Motion approved.
Second. Brad made a motion. I second that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item B, requesting approval for the petitions for change of assessment on the 25 real and 24 and 25 personal property assessments.
Motion approved.
Second.
Jay made a motion. Phil seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Mr. Grantham.
Go ahead. I wasn't through, but go ahead, Jay.
Good morning. First of all, thank you all for putting the burn ban in place. Like Brett mentioned before, the volunteers and throughout the county have just been run ragged here lately, chasing those wildfires that were once controlled and got out of control. So hopefully this burn
How did
ban.
the one start yesterday on 18th?
How did it start?
Yeah.
A homeowner had a burn pile going, and he went inside to eat lunch or something, and just wasn't paying attention, and it ended up burning 150 acres due to the current conditions. So, really appreciate that. But what I'm here for is the consideration and potential action to approve a memorandum of understanding between the Rankin County and the 172nd Airlift Wing National Guard for the transfer and rerouting of 911 calls originating from the Air National Guard base to the 172nd Airling Security Forces and Fire Department. So basically what this is when somebody on base dials 911, they wanted that 911 call to be routed to them. They have their own police force, their own fire department. And sometimes it was going to Jackson, to Rankin, and other places. This MOU just puts it in a document form that we can actually turn that back over to them so they control their own.
So it's not adding more work to us?
None.
Okay.
No, this will be automatically programmed in the system.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Brad made a motion to approve. Jay seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Thank
Hey,
you.
Brian, maybe our next meeting, you come and kind of educate us on this 911 rollout, why we need to do it, and how much it's gonna cost.
Will do.
All right, thank you.
Mike Harrison, would like to step up and give us some good news.
Well, I don't know. We'll try. Need authorization to advertise clearing and grubbing for the Florence Byram Parkway project between Cleary Road and Old 49.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I made a motion. Phil seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
I have a little short additional business. I can take up additional at the end. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Mr. Tim Parker. Morning. Look like you got a haircut over the weekend.
I did. I appreciate you noticing.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Cut both of them.
Yeah, looks good.
Item A is on Fallen Oak Phase 5 subdivision. We're recommending approval of the final plat and LOC in the amount of $85,550.08. That's a District 4 development, and Mr. Gaines is aware of it and in favor.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Brad made a motion. Jay seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Item B, Mr. President, is on the old Highway 49 overlay project. You should have in front of you a certified bid tab on that. We took bids a couple of weeks ago and had several bidders, had really competitive prices. The low bid was AJ Construction, Inc. in the amount of $1,626,670.41. We're recommending the award of that project.
Was this under what you had planned?
Yeah, it's slightly under the estimate, and this is an LPA project too, so it's actually, this one is a 70-30 match. The county will match 30, and then, well, and then Richland.
20.
The way it works, I think, is gonna be that the county's gonna have to match it in the LPA program, and then the city of Richland will contribute 10% to come into the county whole.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I made a motion. Brad seconded that motion. Any further discussion?
How long ago did we start this project?
Right.
Discussion of it.
About a year and a half ago. 2
Yeah,
years, yeah.
It would have been, the project was, trying to think, Jay, when it started through the LPA process. It was awarded in the LPA process in June of last year.
So to get that award, did we apply through MPO?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Let me look back
So we
on the
started
computer and
process 4
see.
years ago then.
The application would have been a year before it was awarded, yes. Not quite 4 years ago.
Because, I mean, the new one's rolling out now, and it's usually every 4 years that we get that.
Yeah, this one wasn't quite 4 years between them.
Okay. So did we overlay a different part of Old 49? I know
prior to this?
Several years back under a state aid project, yes, we did. It's kind of confusing. Old 49 starts at Cleary Road and heads north, and then it ties into Old 49 again, which is coming from 49 and heading all the way to Highway 80. That portion we did from 49 to Highway 80, we did under a state aid project. That's been a bunch of years
That's
ago.
what I was thinking about.
It's one we had so much trouble getting striped at the end. The striping company never would come in and finish it.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Tim.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Tim.
Item C, Mr. President, is a state aid project, SAP 6120M. That's an overlay project we're requesting authority to advertise. That has 5 roads in it: Florence Byram Road, Star Brandon Road, Luckney Road, North Shore Parkway, and Midway Road.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Brad made a motion, Phil seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item D, Mr. President, is on, we have a spelling error there. It's Ehrlich Road, E-R-L-I-C-H. Bridge replacement. This is an ER-BR project. We're recommending authority to advertise it. We're actually, on Ehrlich Road, we're replacing an existing bridge with a box culvert. So we'll actually take a bridge off of inventory, thankfully. But this one has been going on for quite some time. The way the roads lay out, we had hoped that we could realign the road and totally omit this bridge/box. But in working with the property owners, we kind of, I'll say, got to an impasse where it just wasn't gonna work. So, in the essence of time, since it's an ER-BR project funded by MDOT, we're requesting authority to advertise that, move forward.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
I made a motion, Brad seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. And that will be a lot better, replacing that with a box cover instead of a bridge right there. It's
Absolutely.
right. I'm glad we worked that out and was able to get that,
Yeah,
switched
we've
over.
had some
Good.
problems with that bridge. Matter of fact, Mike had to do an emergency repair several years ago.
Yeah.
Started at about 5 o'clock on a Friday night because it's affected by Steens Creek, the backwater. So we have a lot of
Right.
problems with the bridge washing out around it. So the box should alleviate those problems. Item E, Mr. President, our last item is, this is on the Transportation Alternatives Program through MDOT. This is the shared use path at Pisgah High School on Pisgah Road. That project was funded, and we're recommending authorize the chief LPA official, which is the president of the board, to request activation of that project.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Brad made a motion, Phil seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Parker.
When do you expect the old Highway 49 project and the Ehrlich Road project to start?
The Highway 49 project, we've still got to go through the LPA process of getting it to construction from award. So it's probably at minimum 4 to 6 weeks away from starting construction. And what was the other one? It would be at earliest late summer, because it's just starting the advertising process. So you're looking at minimum of 60 days to get to a contractor. And the ER-BR process moves much faster than the normal LPA, but it should be, it wouldn't start until late summer.
And those are reimbursement programs, right?
That is correct. Both of those are real.
Yeah, both of them are.
Keith, and we're trying to line up that, hopefully that old 49 one will line up with school being out, so we don't disrupt school right there. We're able to fix school right in the middle of this project.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim. Mr. Slade?
Gentlemen, the first two items, A and B, under my section are to set public hearings for the 16th of March at 9. One motion would suffice there.
I make a motion to set A and B for March 16th.
Second.
Brad made a motion, Phil seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
The next item, gentlemen, item C, is a public hearing on the Kimberly Hobson conditional use permit at Grants Ferry Road, a District 2 property. I'm gonna open that public hearing. Ms. Hobson is requesting a conditional use permit to place a new manufactured home on 1.18 acres, which is on Grants Ferry Road. Property is zoned RE1. Ms. Hobson is seeking a conditional use permit under our hardship request language. The hardship is her need to relocate closer to her mother to provide the necessary care for her mother. One of the conditions under the hardship is that once the hardship expires, the manufactured home must be removed from that parcel. This is RE1. We do not allow manufactured housing in RE1, but we do allow it where there's an established hardship. So that's the basis of the application. That public hearing is open. I'm asking if there is anyone here to speak in opposition to the Kimberly Hobson conditional use permit request. Anyone here to speak in opposition on that matter? Opposition? Are you opposed? Oh, no. Yeah. Gentlemen, I don't see anyone here to rise in opposition. Obviously, the applicant is present if you have questions, but one of the conditions would be, and I want to state this with Ms. Hobson present, that once the hardship is over, then the manufactured unit has to be relocated away from this site, okay? Any further questions? I'm going to close that public hearing. At this time, it'd be appropriate to take action.
I make a motion to approve.
I second that. Phil made a motion to approve. I second that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
Gentlemen, item D is the public hearing on the Scotty Bridges dimensional variance. This is Buck Shadow Lane. This is District 5. I'm going to open that public hearing. Mr. Bridges is seeking a variance from our A1 zoning ordinance minimum lot size, which is currently 2 acres. Subject property consists of a total of 3 acres. It's located on Buck Shadow Lane. That's a private drive. Mr. Bridges is requesting to approve the division of the property into 2 parcels, each containing approximately 1.5 acres. And he wishes to construct 2 single-family homes on that acreage. The A1's district requires a minimum lot size of 2 acres per parcel. Therefore, the variance would be a ½ acre per parcel. That public hearing is open. I'm going to ask if there is anyone here to speak in opposition to the Scotty Bridges dimensional variance request under A1. Anyone here to speak in opposition on that matter? Mr. President, I don't see anyone here to speak in opposition on that matter. Unless anyone has questions of the applicant, we will close that public hearing. Any questions?
I got a few, actually. So I want to know, what is our, as far as the county goes, responsibility on an easement, how they access the property?
Yes, sir. This is a private easement, Jay.
Right.
This would be a private means of access. We actually don't regulate that outside of the context of public safety. And so where there is an issue that is raised that we may have some difficulty getting from the public portion, the closest public access to this property, if there's going to be a serious issue of getting a fire response there, an ambulance response there, a law enforcement response there, then oftentimes we will look at the condition of that easement. But typically what we do is we require a minimum width of the easement, not the road, a width of the easement of about 30 feet. But that's what we like to see. And then we try to counsel the property owner if there's going to be multiple housetops back there. We need to make sure that the condition of that road is such that emergency response can get there. That's our standard way of handling it.
Okay.
What's
Well,
currently there now?
So there's one house, well, so it's several houses over there, but where it's going is, there's nothing there. They just cleared off some woods.
But the road is coming in there to a certain
So
point.
it's a private road to a private road, and so he has easements to it. I think there's like 3 actual easements to it. But, so my concern is, I know that there's gonna be these 2 and probably at least 2 more that's gonna be built back there. So there's no kind of understanding that there's gonna be a shared tip of the road.
Yeah, so typically we like to see in the instruments, the deeds themselves, we like to see a road maintenance agreement. And I would suggest that this would be appropriate here, that we require Mr. Bridges to include as a part of any transaction with a potential homeowner back there, a road maintenance agreement. That way it's clear that everybody has a shared responsibility to maintain the
Yeah,
road.
and that way whoever buys the houses will know what their
Yes,
responsibility is.
on the front end. So what we can say is, if you decide to move forward approving this variance request, you can make a condition of your approval that any deed instrument that results in these two pieces of property, any deed out of Mr. Bridges into somebody else, must contain an acceptable road maintenance agreement for the condition of that road.
All right, so there's one more that I wanna add, and that's no garbage trucks excess back there, cause
Yes, sir.
there's no real road bed. It'll be all tore up if garbage trucks start going back there.
Exactly. So how that works, just to point this out to everybody that's here listening and to you guys as well, we really don't police that. We require our solid waste contractor, in this case it's Waste Management, under contract with the county, to provide solid waste collection. We require them to determine and navigate how are they gonna access what would be private property.
And I don't think that's any different what's out there now. Isn't that right, Scotty?
They don't think it's just me.
Yeah.
I think to Jay's point, even though we are not required to police that, it's a good idea to include in the deeds. You gotta maintain the road that gets to you, and you gotta take your trash to whatever that point is, to the public, the
Wherever
nearest
they
public
carry
road.
it to, yeah.
Include both of those. Well, I mean, there shouldn't be any reason not to do that. It's good to disclose that on the front end. That way there's no questions about it.
Is this on sewer or is this on septic?
Well, there's sewer
Probably,
out there,
it'd
but
probably be on sewer.
some houses that are current, were built prior to sewer, they're on treatment systems.
So are these gonna be on sewer or are they gonna be on septic? Do they know?
That's not my call.
Yeah.
That's city of.
Mr. Bridges is still gonna have to
Yeah.
clear health department regulations. So
Right.
if you grant this request and say,
Well, that was the whole reason that I wanted to do this, cause, you know, I knew 1 acre lots don't work well with treatment systems, so.
Right.
But unless y'all got something to add, I'm ready to vote on it.
Are y'all good? You got anything?
Could I have a comment?
Uh-huh.
I actually own the land that the easement's over, so I'm kinda hanging out listening. I spoke to Scotty this morning. It is a 25-foot easement, just to put that out there. You know, he and I talked about it, you know, we're gonna be good neighbors with him, but I do like the idea of hearing a common maintenance agreement. Scotty, you know, you developed before, a mortgage company's gonna require a common maintenance agreement anyway before you sell the house, so I would like to get some type of and we discussed that this morning. So we're in a good spot, and as he builds, I don't want food, gas station food thrown out as you go through. We have the RV park now at the end of Vernon Jones. So just, you know, there's concerns, but what I'm hearing y'all airing, I think is reasonable. So I like all that, and I don't wanna stop a man from building houses, but it has to be a common maintenance agreement, some agreement to keep it nice and pretty.
And I know a lot of mortgage companies, you know, it just depends on what mortgage company they go through, is whether you can build on some, you know, on an easement, on a private drive, you know, it just kinda depends on.
They will require, most of them do require a common maintenance agreement.
Right.
Alright, so that's the only two things that I wanted to bring
Yeah.
up.
Okay.
any other questions, gentlemen, while you got folks here?
Y'all have any questions?
I do. Is it, Mr. Scotty, is it gonna be a public sewer or is it?
No, it'll be to the state.
Oh, so it's a septic system.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? All right, we ready to close that public hearing? All right, that public hearing's closed. Jay, I think you may have a motion with
Yeah,
some conditions,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. I make a motion to approve it with the conditions, the two I stated, the garbage truck and the road agreement.
All right, I second that motion. Jay made a motion, I second that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
All right, Ms. Bridges, Ms. Foster, if you guys could produce a copy of the road maintenance agreement at the time y'all gotten together on that and provide that to community development, that would satisfy that condition. And then it would only require
Bridges is gonna execute the road maintenance agreement, you're gonna execute the road maintenance agreement. I think it would only require at that point the deed to include solid waste collection language.
Can I,
A separate road maintenance agreement will work as long as it's executed by the properties in the ownership that they currently are.
is the, and I don't know, I was just asking, like the road maintenance agreements, I mean, is there several different parties that own the easement, or is it just one?
Kelly's saying that he controls the land, so he's the
Okay.
owner of the property,
So
which
actually,
has the easement over it.
there's another easement access to it, so I don't know which way.
Yeah, I was just,
used, so.
okay,
Yeah, so what I'm concerned about is the easement that provides access to these two house sites.
correct.
That's what I'm concerned about. I can't control what the other neighbors, how their easements are structured.
That horse left the barn. I'm concerned about Mr. Bridges' 2 lots and Mr. Foster as the underlying property owner. If those 2 parties have a road maintenance agreement, I'm good.
But there's only 2 of them that have gravel on, right? One of them, there's nothing done.
Right.
Is that right? Yeah, so whichever way you wanna access, we need to get agreement in place with whoever, how are we gonna get back there?
Yeah.
I would propose that if those 2 lots are gonna be served access by some manner other than through Mr. Foster's property, then I'm gonna need a road maintenance agreement with whomever the property owners are for that alternative access. The condition is road maintenance agreement, however those properties are accessed.
Yeah.
Right.
All right.
That's the condition. So there won't
Won't be any permits issued until I'm satisfied that we have an adequate road maintenance agreement.
Can I go ahead and pull the 911 once we get the state
No, sir.
out to verify?
No, sir. I gotta have a road maintenance agreement, and then we can move through the process of issuing an address.
All right. Anything else, gentlemen?
No, sir.
All right, that matter is concluded, and that public hearing is closed. The next item, item E.
Yeah, we voted.
The next item, we did vote.
Yeah.
The next item, item E, is a public hearing on the Pine Lake Church, Inc., conditional use permit request, 1572 Highway 471. This is District 4 property. Pine Lake, I'm going to open that public hearing. Pine Lake Church, Inc. is requesting a conditional use permit to operate a retreat center at 1572 Highway 471, Brandon. It's a 7.04 acre property. It's zoned RE1. It's RE1. Its function and character will remain closer to the property's existing residential use than to a commercial operation. The retreat center will primarily serve the internal staff-related purposes, providing a place of rest, respite, and reflection for staff members of Pine Lake Church. Uses may include staff and spouse getaways, staff team retreats, internal meetings, and specialized counseling activities. On occasion, an out-of-town guest speaker may stay at the retreat center for a short duration in lieu of a hotel stay while they are participating in church-related activities. There is no full-time or on-site residential staff there. Use of the property will be scheduled internally by the church as needed. There will be no signage that identifies this facility and nor its affiliation with the church. None of that is planned at present. That public hearing is open. I'll ask if there is anyone here to speak in opposition to the Pine Lake Church conditional use permit request at 1572 Highway 471. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition on that matter? Gentlemen, I don't see anyone here to speak in opposition on that matter. I know that we do have representatives of the church and legal counsel that are here in the event that you guys have any questions. At this time, I'm prepared to close the public hearing unless you have questions. We ready to move forward?
think.
So,
All right. We will close that public hearing. This time it'll be appropriate to take action.
I make a motion to approve.
Brad made a motion to approve. Jay seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.
All right. The next two items, gentlemen, item F is the Cross Gates Baptist Church request for tax exemption. This is on a residential home that's located at 12 Hunters Point, PPIN 22536, which is, they are requesting this for the tax year of 2025, when the church actually took ownership of the property. And so they are asking that the tax bill associated with 2025 be voided, and that the home be considered tax exempt on a going forward basis. So at this time, that matter is before the board, and if you have any questions or concerns, I think the staff, I'm not going to put Ms. Stacy on the spot, but, and we also have a representative of Cross Gates Baptist Church here present if you have any questions.
My understanding is just a missionary home.
If, what we have heard, ma'am, if you would like to step forward and give your name and address again, please. We had heard from the church before. I think it's appropriate just to ask them to go back through what is the proposed use of the property.
Morning.
Morning.
My name is Kathy Wolf. I'm the business administrator at Cross Gates Baptist Church.
If you'll please explain to the board what the church intends to do with this property.
We intend to use it as a missionary home. We have missionaries come in on furlough occasionally and need a place to stay, so we provide that for them.
And that's what both of these items are gonna be used for, right? Both these residents?
Okay, what's the statute on this?
All right, so the statute is, it leaves vast discretion in the Board of Supervisors to determine the scope, the scale of your exemptions that you grant. You have the authority to determine whether or not a particular request falls within the tax exemption that's afforded under the statute. The statute seems to indicate that a residential structure that is used and affiliated with a church activity, that is clearly the church is a tax exempt entity under federal law. If you find that their activity with respect to that residential home falls within the purposes, the charitable purposes of the organization, then it is qualified for the exemption. But it has to fall within the charitable purposes. There's a lot of broad discretion to determine whether or not the use falls within the charitable purpose of the organization, okay? So typically, what we have done, just as by way of a policy, just to kind of show you how this has been handled through history. If it's a parsonage, which we're all familiar with, a church, a home that is made available for the pastor of the church as a residence for the pastor, we understand that. That is historically understood in terms of context. Where it gets a little unique is that so many of our pastors now, they're not providing a parsonage. We're kind of out of the parsonage business. And so instead, the federal government allows pastors, those qualified ministers of the gospel, allows them to claim a portion of their actual salary for their home, the cost of their home. And so instead of providing a parsonage, they get the ability to shield some of their income for their residents. That's the benefit. So they're still paying, by the way, ad valorem tax on that home now, right? It's not titled in the church, it's actually titled in the minister. He actually owns the home. And so this is a little unique in that it kind of looks like the old parsonage setup. The church owns it. So you've now got to struggle with how many of these parsonages situations will we allow one church organization to have in the same community?
Do y'all currently have a parsonage?
No, we do not.
So y'all don't have anything currently that is not, that you're not, that you own, but you're not paying taxes on?
We do have one other property, 12 Crosswoods Road.
A residential property? Okay.
That is tax exempt currently?
Yes, it is.
That could be,
It's used in the same aspect, right, for
It
missions and
is.
all that?
Yes, it's a missionary.
Stacy, I know our question when this was first brought up was trying to do some research to see if there were any others that had multiple, any other churches that had multiple parsonage type setups. Do we have records of any of that?
So, we did do an audit of all the exempt properties in the county, and as far as we can tell, aside from the actual property that the church, sits on, and parking lots, and adjoining, limited acreage, there do seem to be, if any, that have multiple residences.
So most of them just have one with the,
So I don't understand, why, if the church owns it, why is it in the pastor's name?
No.
It's in the name of the church. Jay.
Okay,
It's in
all
the
right.
name of the corporation that Crossgates is organized under Mississippi laws of nonprofit corporation. This is the name of the corporation, Crossgates Baptist Church, Inc. Isn't that right?
It is.
Okay. Really what you guys are wrestling with here is, we recognize that a church is the fancy lawyer word is, it's eleemosynary. How you like that? Throw that
Break that down for me.
$68 word out there. It is charitable in its context. It is doing what it does as a ministry to the community, right? So there's a benefit to the church to be tax exempt because they do a lot of good in the community that otherwise would fall on government. So that's why our policy is set the way that it is. What you guys are wrestling with is, should there be a limitation on how many tax exempt properties that an already tax exempt organization can benefit from before it starts really pinching, and we say the public benefit of a tax exemption on these multiple housetops is not sufficient enough to grant the exemption. They should be treated the same as every other property owner and contribute towards road and bridge, contribute towards economic development, contribute towards school tax, contribute towards city tax, all of those things. Just like any other normal tax-paying citizen of the community. So they are already getting a benefit of all of the properties that on which sits their primary house of worship and educational space and parking facilities. They're already getting a full exemption on that. They're currently getting an exemption on 12 Crosswoods for the purpose of allowing for ministerial activities associated with furloughing missionaries and other things. So they're getting some benefit there. At what point do we say, okay, that's the scope of the exemption we're gonna authorize, but any other residential properties are gonna have to be on the books, taxable. That's what you're wrestling with. And I'm not gonna speak for the tax assessor, but my thought would be, if they're already getting a global house of worship exemption and a residential, they're already getting that, your policy may need to say something like, that's it. You get the primary house of worship, you get one additional residential property, and then any others are on the books. You could set that policy.
what were you gonna say, Jay?
Well, I just wanna know what the purpose are for these two houses. Are there pastors living?
No,
in
it's
them?
more
Or
missionary.
Both of them are for missionaries?
yeah, when they come in town.
Missionary houses, and one's already taxed exempt.
Yeah.
My motion is gonna be to deny the F and G for tax exemption, being they already have one tax exempt residential house now.
Brad, I'm gonna get you to, if you will, let's deal with F, because that's the one I
Okay.
called, and that's what we're hearing on the public. And thank you for going ahead and telegraphing the next one, but I think technically we need to get into a public hearing on G before we act. So is your
My
motion to
motion
deny
deny
Brad?
on F.
Brad made a motion to deny on F.
This it's one I'm struggling with, but I think we gotta set that there's just one residential property allowed, so I second Brad's motion.
Brad made a motion, Bill seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I heard two.
I'm torn, I ain't lying.
I mean, it's a whole decision.
It's, my concern with it is like we've said, is, you know, a church getting and having 10, 15 properties out there.
So, but we just approved one for Pine Lake.
No, we
No.
did not approve one.
Of
That
additional,
wasn't a tax
that was a conditional
It
use.
wasn't tax exempt.
They haven't asked for an exemption.
This is
When they
bad.
come for a tax exemption, if they already
We gonna
have
turn that
one,
down too?
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn them down.
Okay.
I mean, it's,
It's not even connected. It's a separate 7-acre parcel that what Pine Lake was doing, a retreat
Okay.
resort.
All right.
Jay, what was your vote?
I haven't. What was your vote, Sid?
I'm the president, I vote last. All right,
I think you can tell this isn't easy for any of us.
It's a,
So, I'll be honest, man, I'm good with denying one of them, but I wanna approve one. So,
well,
I
they
don't-
already got one.
They've got one
They got
already.
3 parcels. One's already tax exempt. These are 2 additional parcels that they're trying to get tax exempt. That the church will own. It's not on the
okay,
grounds.
all right. I'll go along with this one. Aye.
All right, so we got 3 ayes and 1 nay.
That was pretty slick there, Sid.
Okay, can we move along to item G? I'm gonna ask this,
I have a question about this next item.
Okay.
Okay.
The 16 Huntsman Circle.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
The law, as I understand it, requires the property to be connected to the church property, is that correct?
No, ma'am.
It doesn't.
No, we're just simply identifying it as a separate parcel.
Does this one adjoin the church?
It backs up to the church, yes.
Yeah, so when we talk about, when I was describing the primary tax exemption around the house of worship, the parking facilities, the worship space, the gym, all that stuff, that's how we identify Crossgates Baptist, its primary operations. So 12 Crosswoods, even though it's right immediately adjacent, it's a separate residential parcel. It's actually zoned single-family residential. Right. So it doesn't matter that it's contiguous. It's a separate parcel, but it does have the tax exemption. The board's leaving 12 Crosswoods in place. It'll continue to be a tax exempt parcel.
But the Huntsman Circle, even though it's.
Yeah, even though it's contiguous, it doesn't make a difference because it's never been affiliated with the church, the operation of the church, until the church bought it. Right? So that's
Okay.
kind of that's the calculation that we're going through.
Well, since we opening this can of worms,
Yeah.
I think we just need, sorry, Stacy, but I think we just need to go on down every church we got, and let's list how many properties they got, so since we going here, let's go there. And
Well, that's
we'll
what we've been
establish
working on.
policy.
Well,
Well,
see,
that's
what we've been
we've
trying to
already
do.
looked at that, Jay.
That's what we've done.
We've done that.
In auditing all the exempt properties, we broke out every church property and we put it in its own exemption code. We identified every hospital, but, we broke it out so that we can easily identify any property that falls under a church to see the number of properties that they do have.
So,
We've done that.
And
I would
most-
like to take a look at it and see, myself, I wanna know how many parcels we got to go with each church. And if we have one for each, I'm good with going one. But-
Now,
Well-
and I think you also need to specify parcels versus residents, because sometimes you have parcels that have no residents on them.
There are
Right,
churches that
well, that's what I
own
meant,
lots in
residents,
Robin Hood.
a house.
Yeah.
That-
That somebody donated
Yes.
when they passed away,
Correct.
it was left in the
And
will.
I think for the most part, Stacy, we haven't recoded those as exempt, just because they're in the name of the church. I mean, they're still paying taxes on Robin Hood lots.
There are probably some that fall under that.
Yeah.
So, I thought I understood earlier that we we didn't have any churches that had two parcels of residents that were not getting taxes from. Is that still correct, or there may be some that are getting more than one?
That is essentially correct. Now, in the quick audit that we did and in reviewing, with a couple of members, we did not see multiple residences assigned an exemption under particular churches.
Okay.
So a church
Yeah.
can have
Yeah.
multiple
There may be
parcels.
some parcels,
Yeah.
multiple parcels.
But only one house.
One residential.
Okay.
Is that, are you understanding? what
So
I'm
the,
saying?
but the multiple parcels, they were in maybe a residential area, they're paying taxes or not on those parcels?
Some are, and some are falling under an exemption.
Yeah, it's
Now,
just
I
the
think it's
vagaries of
important-
our staff.
Yeah, and I think it's important to understand too, the use of some of these parcels. Now, you could be talking about a parcel that's, not even as big as this room in the area that
Right.
he's talking about. There's no structure, anything on them.
So I would like to know about residents, and if we have more than one residence that's exempt per church. And if we don't, then I'm good with denying them all, but I don't wanna allow some.
Right.
And that's what we don't want to do. either.
That's, I think that's the whole thing. And you're saying there's no residents that y'all found? No particular church that had more than one residence that was exempt? Okay.
Thank you. I didn't know you'd already done that.
Yeah, we've been working on it
Scrub
for a
our
month.
list and do
Okay.
find them. Our intention is to get with y'all, figure out how.
Put it
Please.
back on the books.
Okay.
All right. Well,
So, in other words, align with your stated policy.
Right.
By the way, we've never formally stated our policy.
yeah.
This is the first time that we've had this, been confronted with this
Stacy,
situation.
That's exactly what I was gonna say, because we don't have a policy to follow.
Yeah.
And so that was just kind of as a best effort to see how y'all wanted us to handle if we happen to find any.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions?
No, you kinda summed it up for me.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, sir. All right, item G, gentlemen, this hopefully won't take but just a second. Item G is a public hearing on the Cross Gates Baptist Church request for exemption on the house located at 16 Huntsman Circle. And they are also requesting that the exemption be for the 2026 tax year forward. That public hearing is open. I think the same folks are still here. At this time, it'd be appropriate to take action on that exemption request.
Y'all gonna make me do it again?
I'll make the motion to deny for the same reasons we denied F.
Second.
Phil made a motion, Brad seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
Okay. That public hearing is closed. Gentlemen, I've got several matters in executive session. That won't be a surprise. And we have visitors with us for executive session.
Do we want Harrison come up with additional business real quick before we go in?
You want me to go first?
It
Yeah,
don't matter.
I guess so.
Earlier today, you heard from Paul and Guy on our insurance renewal. So what we're asking for is authority to renew our insurance policy with Massey.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Jay made a motion, Brad seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Motion carries.
On another matter, I have one additional business item I'd like to add. I'll just go ahead and read it for you. We're asking for approval for travel, meals, and lodging for Deputy Steve Henderson and Deputy Centel Easterling to travel to Batesville to have their canines recertified. And that's going to be on March 9th and 11th. in the
Motion
Florida.
to add this item.
Second.
Jay made a motion to add, Brad seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion to approve.
Second. Jay made a motion to approve, Phil seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Mike, are you gonna cross us any money?
No.
All right.
He's bringing us money, hopefully.
That'll be a first.
I'm actually asking for the authorization to surplus a machine we have.
look, he's gonna do that, just gonna go buy another one.
I've already asked that question. Cause I said if you sell it, it's gonna cost double to go buy another one. I ain't gonna approve it.
So we need to make a motion to add.
Well,
I made a motion to add additional business with Mike. Jay seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Where you, no,
No, it ain't over yet. We just added.
Where are you selling? What are you selling?
The big milling machine. We're just not using it to its capability anymore.
Yeah.
Jay is 4 years old and, our contractors are doing what they're supposed to do now, so.
We still have a milling machine though, right?
We still have capability to mill, we've just kinda gone a little different direction with some smaller ones now. So we can get around these
I
neighborhoods.
make a motion to approve the surplus sale of this piece of equipment.
Second.
Jay made a motion.
I think we're authority to advertise, we're declaring it surplus, Jay, and authority to advertise.
Oh, I thought we'd be taking it to an auction.
It could be, but authority to declare it surplus and authority to figure out the best way to liquidate. How about that?
That's my motion, yeah.
Second.
Jay made a motion. Brad seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carried. Thank you.
I make the motion to discuss the need for executive session.
Second.
Jay made a motion, it's just the need for executive session. Brad seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
One item is gonna be, well, obviously, we've got potential litigation, as an item. We may have some personnel as an item. You've got the possibility of a purchase of property, and you have a discussion with respect to, county-owned property and the potential for further development of that property.
I make the motion to go into executive session for those reasons.
Second.
Jay made a motion to go to executive. Phil seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion carries.